Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again. And on today's episode, I have a story for you here today that is a little bit different. It is titled, Young Woman Couldn't Believe That No Men Are Going to Singles Events Anymore. And you know what? Young men in general, I would say, are pretty much done with dating, okay? Singles events or not. It doesn't matter if you throw a singles event, the results are going to be the same, guys. The women are still going to go after the highly attractive men. The majority of the men are going to get completely ignored. Men have realized that going to these things is a complete waste of time, especially considering the quality of women who would go to such an event. Okay, women have a ridiculous amount of options when it comes to dating, and so the ones that go here probably also just not the best choice whatsoever either anyway. So let's jump into this one right here. It's a 31-year-old man and he's sharing an experience, okay? So a 31-year-old man shares his experience attending singles events over the years and why he, along with many other men, stopped showing up. When a younger woman organizing an event approached him to ask why no men were coming anymore, she wasn't ready for the honest answer. Yeah, see, if you as a dude, you give an honest answer as to why you're not interested in dating or why you don't do things like singles events, people are going to think that you don't like women. Even though that might not be the case, they will just accuse you of not liking women. They'll get angry at you, right? Because men are not allowed to opt out in the eyes of society. You're not allowed to opt out. You have to keep being that good little slave, going out there, getting into relationships with women who mistreat you, or failing to do so and getting treated like trash anyway. You know, keep it up, men, is what we're told. So let's continue. He says, I used to show up. I really did. I'm a 31-year-old man. I'm not ugly. I'm not weird. And I'm definitely not antisocial. I have a decent job. I stay active and I keep myself well groomed. And I'm actually interested in meeting someone long term, not just swiping left and right endlessly. Between the ages of 25 and 29, I went to a lot of singles events. Speed dating, game nights, mixes, paint and sip nights, even a few more niche ones like board games and brews or singles and whatever. He says, I didn't expect to find the one at every event, but I figured they were at least a way to meet people who were also looking to connect. Guys, please understand that, you know, when women, it's funny because men will go to these things and they'll get on dating apps and they'll go to these events looking to connect. But then they kind of realize that the women are just, number one, they're mostly there for attention. And number two, the men that they are looking for, they're looking for the dudes at the top, right? They're looking for the highly attractive guys who have their life sorted, and you know, they're looking for the 6 foot, 6 figures, 6 inches, you know, that type of deal. Okay. And when a lot of these women don't get that, they feel like they are settling. So let's continue here. He says, they used to be fun, awkward sometimes, sure, but decent, and then things shifted. Over time, something started happening. The event went from 50-50 gender balance to being 70% women. You'd think that would be good for a guy, right? Not really. The women showing up started acting like they were doing us a favor just by being there. Conversations felt forced. If you weren't 6'2", tattooed, and wildly charismatic in the first 30 seconds, you were invisible. I'm not exaggerating. One woman literally said, oh, you're not my type, before I even finished my name. Yeah. Dating for a lot of guys is just straight up disheartening. It really is. You just get treated like trash. Okay, that's just the way it is. You will get treated like dirt a lot of the times, you know, and people will say, oh, you just have to keep going out there until you find the one. Okay, and then what happens is dudes will work really hard. They'll reach 30, 35, whatever. And then their options are just women who are looking to settle down now that they've had their fun. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. He says, there was this attitude of entertain me or leave me alone. I once had a woman spend half the evening filming herself for Instagram saying, where are all the good men? While standing 10 feet from 6 perfectly decent guys trying to talk to her. It got exhausting. Ridiculous. He says, why I stopped going. Eventually I realized that these events were no longer about genuine connection. They had become performance spaces, especially for some women who wanted to show that they were putting themselves out there without actually engaging with the people there. Yeah, I mean, again, women don't engage with men unless they are very highly interested, and then they'll put in a bit of effort. You know, in general, though, women won't lift a damn finger, guys. Like, they really won't. You can be an above average guy, and typically women aren't going to lift a finger. Their version of making something happen is like, you know, replying to a story on Instagram, okay, or liking a photo of yours. That's their definition of putting in effort. Oftentimes these days, women don't typically make things happen unless they're highly attracted to the guy. In that case, they'll do it, right? They'll make things happen. They'll make it super easy. But for the most part, women won't do anything whatsoever, especially if they think you're average. They'll just sit there and expect you to try your hardest, you know, and that's what they try and convince people on social media to do. I'm just looking for a man to put in all the effort and treat me nicely. And you as a guy, you can put in all the effort you want. You can treat her as nice as you possibly want, but it doesn't matter because she wasn't interested in you in the first place. He says, if I tried to start a real conversation, I'd often get one-word answers or awkward glances towards her friends. I wasn't being creepy, just trying to connect like we were all there to do. So I stopped going. Fair enough, in my opinion. Fair enough, man. When dudes stop going and they stop dating, I don't blame the men whatsoever. I really don't. I think a lot of guys are just kind of over it. He says, most of the guys I used to see regularly stopped as well. It wasn't a formal boycott. We all just slowly realized that it wasn't worth our money, time, or energy anymore. Also, isn't everybody that goes to these things charged money? I would assume that the guys are probably charged more money because that's how this crap usually works. It wouldn't surprise me if the women weren't charged at all, but why you would pay money to go to these things is beyond me. So then she approached me. A few weeks ago, I ran into this woman, 25, who organizes local singles events. We were both at a mutual friend's birthday gathering, and she recognized me from past events. She came up and said, hey, you used to come to all of our events. We actually just had one, but barely any guys showed up. What happened? I asked her if she wanted the honest answer, and she said yes, so I gave it to her. Yeah, they don't want the honest answer. Even when they say they want the honest answer, man, they don't want the honest answer. They really don't. If they actually cared, you know, this wouldn't be an issue in the first place. But women simply don't care, guys. They have no empathy for the average guys. They really don't. You know, if you're not interesting, you're just not interesting. They don't give a damn. And by interesting, I mean attractive. He said, men don't want to show up to events where we're treated like wallpaper, judged instantly, and made to feel like we're bothering people just by introducing ourselves. Most of the guys I know came in were respectful and looking for something real, but it felt like the women were showing up to be seen, not to connect, and frankly, we got tired of feeling disposable. Very valid opinion. Like, this is very valid in my opinion. I think this is totally accurate. I think this is how a lot of guys feel, especially when they jump on dating applications and things like that, guys, is a lot of the women are there just to soak up the attention, you know? And if a guy is highly attractive, then she'll make it go somewhere. But for the most part, men just get treated like they're disposable. This is very accurate, and it makes a lot of sense to me. This alone, right? There are so many issues with dating, but like this alone is enough to make a lot of guys go, like, what's the point? The women don't like me talking to them anyway. So what's the point? I'm going to listen to the women and I'm not going to bother. He says, she stared at me like I'd slapped her, then said, well, maybe you're just going to the wrong events. The women I know say there are no good men anywhere. I laughed and said, the good men were there. You just didn't see them. That's true, right? The women complaining that there are no good guys, again, they're just looking for chads that are going to commit to them typically. That's really what they're looking for. Where is my 6-foot millionaire? You know, where are all of the good men? Later that night, I heard from a mutual friend that she was really upset by what I said. Apparently, she called it misogynistic and accused me of blaming women for men being antisocial, which is funny because the guys were social. We just got tired of being ignored, dismissed, or outright insulted for not being 6 inches taller or earning 6 figures. Yep, exactly the way it is. He said, I didn't say what I said to be mean. I said it because I wanted things to change, but I don't think they will. Also, she asked, just by the way, let's not forget that. The woman actually asked him. And he said, do you want an honest answer? She said yes, he gave it, and now she lost it at him and called him, you know, mahogany, right? You don't like women, mahogany. Men are opting out of the dating scene, not because we dislike women, but because we're tired of the disrespect. We're tired of being told we're not enough by people who won't give us 5 minutes of real conversation. You want men to show up? Show us that it's safe to do so. That effort is mutual. That being nice or decent or average looking doesn't mean beneath notice. Until then, we will stay home, or we'll build lives that don't revolve around chasing people who don't even see us. And I promise you, some of us are just fine with that. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And here's also the thing, right? Is like these guys are putting in effort. Okay. The men are trying to make conversations. They're trying to make something happen. You know, they're putting their best foot forward. Right. And a lot of these guys have their stuff together. Okay. Like a lot of them, you know, they've got their jobs. Their life is sorted, normal, as it were. Okay. But women aren't looking for normal. And moreover, guys, like, I'm sorry, but a lot of these women are complete messes. Like, you can have a dude who's average, okay? An average man making average salary, average height, average attractiveness, everything, okay? And the women who are below average, just in terms of personality, like, a lot of these women have, you know, they work dead-end jobs, they have horrible personalities, they refuse to do anything for a man, they're unpleasant, right? And yet men are expected to put in all the effort. For what, man? For what? Like, why would even an average man go and put in effort for these women when oftentimes they're completely below average? And men aren't expecting you to pay bills, okay? Men are not out here like, oh, she has to earn this much money. But even in the personality department, guys, seems to be lacking quite a lot from modern day women. And I don't blame men for not attending these things. But guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. How have you seen dating adapt over the years? If you're an older fellow, you know, how have you seen this? Have you seen it get worse? Have you seen it get better? In my opinion, over the years, I've seen this stuff just get a lot worse over time. But let me know what you think. As always, make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.